Honor the Homeless is a homeless outreach where we go out every week. We provide people with hygiene kits, clothing, food, water, eyeglasses, encouragement, prayer, Bibles. Easing human suffering is what we really started out to do. We have found ourselves developing relationships with these people. We have paired up with an organization called the Safe House, where we go every week and give motivational speeches. We do what I call integrity training, which is basically character development, understanding that we develop our character from an inordinate sense of integrity, and by making that decision to have a sense of integrity, an inordinate sense of integrity, it really builds your self-confidence and builds your character. And also fulfillment training, where we talk about discovering your principles and your values in your life and trying to discover your passions in your life and tying all this together and finding out that there's more to work than money. We work for fulfillment. And a lot of these things seem like common knowledge and like common sense, but they're not. There are distinctions that need to be made. And spending time with these people, I love the statement that nobody cares what you know until they know how much you care. And once we have established a relationship with these people, they really start to listen to us and to believe us. And if we just walk up there and say, man, I want to tell you about Jesus, we get a lot of people that want to talk to us, want to listen to us. And of course, that's really our main focus, is making disciples for the kingdom. But a lot of times that shuts them down. I want to talk to you about God. Hey, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in this. I don't believe in that. Starting with the integrity training, starting with the fulfillment training, we're able to pull them in with the food and with the clothing and with these things. Then they find out that we really do care about them on a basic level. And then they start to really believe that we do care. And they believe us when we say, now, let me tell you about God that changed my life and how I was able to give up drugs and walk off the streets. That's kind of in a nutshell what Honor the Homeless is.
I've been serving for over 3 years, and one of the most impactful nights I had, this happened about a year ago. We go to 5 different stops in downtown Atlanta. One of the stops, the last stop, is called Rite Aid. It's a drugstore parking lot. However, for about a month, they would not allow us to go into that parking lot, so we had to go on a side street that was dark, no lights. Every week for 4 weeks, same stop. It was a side street that did not have any lights. One particular night, there's a gentleman that came up to us named John, who was very down and depressed. We fed him, we gave him some clothes, but he hung around and wanted to speak with us. And Kip and I took the opportunity to get to pray with John. Turns out John was battling depression. He was talking about darkness in his life and how appropriate we were on a dark street in the middle of Atlanta and had the opportunity to pray for him. The reason this night was impactful to me is as Kip was wrapping up the prayer, specifically asking God to shine his light in the darkness of John's heart, we ended the prayer, and all of a sudden, a street light flickered, and then it was on. John looked up in amazement, and he was the one that pointed out that was a God moment, because God was communicating to him that he is the light of the world. And John had a tear in his eye, and Kip and I were rejoicing with him for that God moment. For 2 weeks afterwards, we saw John. He was still recounting that particular prayer, that particular night. And of all the nights, that was the night that street light happened to work at that particular time. It was a powerful moment and one I'll never forget. And Jesus says in John 8:12, I am the light of the world. And that night he proved it to John. And Kip and I got to witness that. And the next 2 weeks when we talked to John, that spirit of depression seemed to have been lifted.
was my second time going down there. Didn't know what to expect. And I remember we were almost done. I think we were at one of our last stops. We were packing up, shutting down, and a guy came up on his bike. Wait. And we thought he was just there for food. You and I both jumped out. I think everybody else stayed in because they thought it was just going to be a, quick thing. And, I think you said, hey, you hungry? We've got food. And he's like, no, I'm not here for that. I've been looking for you, and I just wanted to come and tell you that you changed my life. And we both kind of stopped in our tracks and were like, okay. And he just said that he had been at the Safe House and had heard one of your, I guess, motivational sermons.
It was a fulfillment
speech. And just said that it was it. Something clicked, and that he said that we would never see him again. He cleaned his life up. He went back, and I remember he said that he knocked on his door, had no idea what to expect. If another man was going to be there with his wife and was going to kick him out, and she opened the door, and he just broke down and apologized, and he said he was committed from that day forward that we would never see him on the streets again.
But the thing that I'll never forget is the fact that this man chased us down to let us know that speech, a 15-minute conversation, changed that man's life. And we haven't seen him now. It's been 6 months.
We looked for him.
Yes,
yeah.
We have been looking for him. It's been 6 months. We've been looking for the guy, and honestly, I'll tell you, I hope we never see him again.
Yeah.
I talk about helping human beings all the time, being the cornerstones, one of the 3 cornerstones of fulfillment. And it really is, and you do not realize how your life will be impacted until you get out and put your arms around somebody and love on them. Really love on them.
Since encountering Honor the Homeless, we've made it a point to staff every Wednesday night for them to come and to serve our people with the level of love that they serve. They see more people than any of our other groups that come through. They do typically 300 per Wednesday night. A lot of times we don't even try to capture names. We just try to get a number because so many people are drawn. When the love of God is shown, it's either going to draw you or drive you. It's going to either draw you closer to Him or it's going to drive you away. But when it's done right, it has no other choice but to drive you and to draw you closer toward God. And the level of love that they show is just ridiculous. We have a lot of people that come and serve here, whether it be Chick-fil-A, the Ritz, and the whole nine, and they do an excellent job. But the love component in honoring the homeless is such a factor that, our numbers are overwhelming, and I'm just so grateful to see God multiply everything that they bring to the table to where everyone is served.
You will never know what it feels like to help someone in the name of God until you do it, until you step into that arena and you step behind a trash can or down a dark alley and you pick someone up and you give them a hug and you give them a warm blanket, you give them some food and you say, man, can I pray with you? Do you need some eyeglasses? And their lives are forever impacted by your involvement and by you making yourself available. Just as the disciples did. We're not in the results business. That's up to God. But what we can do is make ourselves available. The word says that many are called, but few are chosen. I'm telling you right now, if you will make yourself available, it absolutely will change your life for the better. And it doesn't even have to be with Honor the Homeless. Absolutely, that's why we're doing this, to get you guys involved. I want you to come help us. But more especially, if I had to ask you, I would say get involved in your community. Get involved with the homeless people down your corner of the woods.